good evening. Welcome to this week's Friday Study Circle. And here we basically reflect and share, the beautiful words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, or any other master or mystic that you would like to, share with us. So I think whoever is ready, we can start with the circle. So anybody who has anything to share, I would request to please, yeah, we are all unmute anyway. Welcome, Aishwarya. And yes, Captain, would you like to go first this time?
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
I was reading Sunlit Path. The topic was the art of living, and it starts with usually you are taught very few things. Usually,
Usually, okay.
usually.
Doesn't seem usually, yeah, here. So,
Okay.
uh, yes, so this one, right? Is this it, Captain?
So I'll just read it out. It's very self-explanatory, but still I'll just read it out. The art of living. Usually, you are taught very few things. You are not taught even to sleep. People think people think that they have only to lie down in their bed and then they sleep. But this is not true. One must learn how to sleep as one must learn to eat, learn to do anything at all. And if one does not learn, well, one does it badly. Or one takes years and years to learn how to do it. And during all those years, when it is badly done, all sorts of unpleasant things occur. And it is only after suffering much, making many mistakes, committing many stupidities, that gradually, when one is old and has white hair, one begins to know how to do something. But if when you are quite small, your parents or those who look after you took the trouble to teach you how to do what you do it properly as it should be done in the right way, then that would help you to avoid all these mistakes you make through the years. And not only do you make mistakes, but nobody tells you their mistakes. And so you are surprised that you fall ill, are tired, don't know how to do what you want to, and that you have never been taught. Some children are not taught anything, and so they need years and years and years to learn the simplest things, even the most elementary thing, to be clean.
Captain, I think even the next line one must read to make it complete that, the parents could, do not teach because they do not know it themselves, and how the cycle continues. It's a very simple thing. Would you want to read the further, Captain, so that we can complete it?
No, I thought the first, the art of living, here the heading was given. So
Okay,
I thought
so in
even
that only that one was there. Yes, you
these are
completely,
very
yeah,
basic actually.
yeah.
Even everything else is everything is important here. Like in my personal case, I'll give my personal example. I joined defense maybe at the age of say 20, 22. And then we are taught how to brush the teeth at the age of 22 years. Because it was defense, you cannot say that, no, I know already all this. You have no one to teach me or something like that. So I was very much, I have open mind to learn everything, whatever is out there. Then I went to US and there was nothing to do. For 6 months I was there. Then I went to a library. I found a book, How to Eat. And the person who has written was a doctor, and he has got doctorate on only how to eat. I found it quite interesting. There's a thick book about 900 pages. I read that, and I learned so many things which I did not know in my life. Means whatever when how to talk, like here in this book, example has been given, how to sleep. Actually, we are not being taught. So the problem today, what we are facing at whatever position we are now, this is because of our not educated on the total things actually for everybody, because we learn somehow, and the beginning, and that we take it for granted that this is the only way we have to do it. Maybe our ego and other factors come into effect. Otherwise, uh, I should not be damaged. I must always in my chosen path I have to move forward. But if there is no guru or nobody, there is no guide. So who is going to tell me every time that this you are doing wrong, this you are doing, this is taking away from your chosen path? There's nobody. But constantly, we were told from beginning of our life by mother initially, then the school teacher or well-wishers and things like that. Every time we have been prompted, but was it correct whatever we have been doing? So that we never pause and make a thought, actually the thinking process, that whatever I am doing, this is probably, if I do it correctly, then I'll be better off. Like my brother who is in Ramakrishna Mission. So I went there. So they asked me, "Who are you?" So I told him that I am the brother of, I told my brother's name, because my brother was known there. Everybody knows. But he says, "No, that is relation you are talking about." I was a college student at the time. But even today, I remember actually who asked me and what was it and all. Then I was touching the feet of the one senior person before departing from there. Then he says, even I have to touch your feet. I said, why? Because you are elder to me and all, and we taught that my mother told that those who are elder and all, you have to give regards and respect. And when you initially go, then you do pranam. And when you are departing from that place, also you have to do pranam. This is that you are not body. Whoever is there inside you, if you can put your head down, so I also, the same body is there in your body also. So let me also have a chance to touch your feet. So, I was initially felt very bad, but subsequently I kept on thinking actually, that what is this? And now that we are discussing and reading and all this, then we say that yes, actually, neither your body nor your mind nor that intellect, uh, mon, buddhi, ahankar. So nothing that we are actually is describing description which we are recognizing ourselves with. So that is the way that for everything there is a learning actually. And since I took the topic of explaining that how to eat food, if keen, probably I can take 2 minutes to tell the 4 points what I learned from there. Should I continue?
Yes, yes, absolutely. We are
How to
very
eat food. It was a very simple, simple process. There are 4 points, major points, which you have to follow, and that explanation. That is why the big book actually. So we don't go into that explanation. The first thing is that Whenever you are feeling hungry, you must eat. That is point number one. Point number two, you concentrate on eating. When you are eating, you concentrate. There are somebody who uttered some mantra or something, and they eat. So you should concentrate on eating. Second point. Third point is that minimum 20 times you have to chew. That one gulp of food you have taken inside, and minimum 20 times you have to chew. Whether it is the mutton, chicken, or vegetarian, or whatever may be the food, or rice, or chapati, or puri, or whatever may be. And fourth thing is that when you are feeling that now you don't want to eat, you have to stop. So these are the four things. Now, little explanation is this, that like we feel hungry because there are the digestive juices in the body and all this, when they come and they know that this is the time for breakfast or lunch or dinner. So this is the warning from inside that now we have to eat. Body is telling, means through body, it has been told that you have to eat. So that you should not neglect. Listen, I got a very busy job and all, I cannot eat now and all, I'll eat later and all. So this is not correct. That's what the rule. First, whenever you feel hungry, you have to eat. That is first rule. Second rule is that you have to concentrate on food. Concentrate because our mind is running everywhere. Whereas without food, you cannot survive. So that is very important thing of the throughout the day, whatever we are doing. This is the most important thing is that eating food, and that we do not give time. We are not taught actually that somehow we must swallow. It should go below the neck so that eating is over. So that we had been taught from the beginning and followed, and nobody objected that why are you eating like this? Why are you in a hurry or something? The doctors have been telling that hurry, badi, curry is the the things for your heart attack and diabetes and all this, but it is only saying, only nothing else, no practice. So you have to concentrate. Not that television is on or some fighting is on, some discussion is on the dining table, and so I have to concentrate on food. So how what is the concentration like? We must understand that God has given through the sunlight that food is created. God has created food, whether it is rice or atta or something, and uh, this each and every atom or molecule of this rice or atta and all this, that blessings of God through sun has been put as energy, and what is required by our body, mind, and all this maintenance. So that has been put. So we have to concentrate on such things, not otherwise. And third is the most difficult, which you do not follow, that chew 20 times, because what has happened is the God has given us mouth and teeth. So if we chew, there is no grinder inside below the neck. Below the neck, when you swallow food, after that there is no grinder in the stomach or intestine or small intestine or large intestine. There is nothing actually. It goes as it is. If there is some solid food, and if you swallowed, it will go as it is out. And it has been proved that 50 to 70% of the food are getting wasted. If the stool test is carried out, it will be seen that 50 to 70% are undigested particles, which was never been put to our body or use. And we were never been told, neither in the school, neither our parents have told this. And I myself was a lab assistant. I worked in the lab, and I have said that I've seen that it is true. It is true that this fecal matters, when it is tested in the laboratory, we can see that all undigested particles. So that means only 30% of the food has been absorbed by the body and used. Rest all have gone waste. So that is why you have to chew the food. And fourth is that your body tells you that no, you should not eat more. Now enough. So you stop. We say that no, it will go to the refrigerator again, and we have to eat it, and So let us not waste. Wastage of food is a national crime. So we will not waste, because we have been told all this. They don't waste food. So you have it overeating. So those are 4 points. I was convinced in all the 4 points actually. I don't know, and try to practice, but it was very late. It was it was very late, because the amount of food we are wasting, say 70% of the food every one of us are wasting in the world. So that means there will be no food shortage at all. We are just swallowing, and it's a waste. Means think of it actually. Think of it that we are, we are just wasting. So so this learning, what I don't know whether it was written by Sri Aurobindo or Sri Ma in this The Art of Living. So I found it is quite true, each and every word, which is very simple here, very simple. You are not taught even to sleep. Similarly, for sleep also, those who have done research and all, you will find out exactly what should be the way to sleep properly. Somebody says that no, before that you do some meditation before going to bed, or somebody says then read some books or some light music or something. You know all those. There are so many things, but what you should do actually, what we have been practicing. Are you getting the proper sleep of say 6 to 8 hours? What you're supposed to get without dream or this and that and all this. Because it comfort. And when I get up, I might feel fresh. Or what should be the time actually? Whether it will be 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock or what? Should I go bed at the right time every day at the right time? Because in the nature we see that the sunlight goes, the birds and the trees and all this, and they start relaxing, and the sunlight comes. They have adjusted the timing with the sun because the moment we bring artificiality, that will create the complications which you do not know. It's a chain reaction actually which is taking place. So we become very, our mind is not at rest because of all this artificiality. In the night, we'll switch on the light, and in the artificial light, we'll study. We'll close all the doors and windows during the day, and because we'll put air condition, and in the offices and all will work. All other artificial but if we align ourselves with the nature, that will remove the lot of diseases which we come across over a period of time. From the beginning, those who are, because I have seen the person from the village. So we have seen that we used to work with the sunlight. There was no electricity or nothing of that sort. And there were some small lamps in the evening and all this. But we used to sleep early and we used to get up early also. There was no problem. And there's no health hazard. People used to survive 70, 80 years, and they are working in the field and all in the rain and sunlight and all this and all this. There was no disease, absolutely. There was no disease. There is no blood pressure, and there was no diabetes, nothing of this. And all these, when the towns, cities have not been built, and the people started, relaxing or this and that and all this, and we away from the nature. I understand that, and we have now it's become a madhouse actually. It has become a madhouse. The health is totally not under control. Actually, various type of ailments are coming. So we keep on taking medicines. These are poisons. All the medicines are poisons. So this will have a side effect. Somebody takes 8 or 10 tablets for every day. The doctor says that blood pressure, if you're having, and you start with the tablet, and throughout your life, you have to now continue. So the medicine companies and all this, they're also happy. And doctor is also happy because patients went in there and doctor has been able to prescribe something. Anything you say, I have a headache, doctor will give medicine. I've got stomach upset, medicine is there. Then I have not, uneasiness. Then there is some, medicines. So, so all those, if you are combining, and if you ask doctor, all these medicines when I take together 7, 8 tablets, when they go inside the stomach, what happens? Do they not react each other? They're all friendly or what? Inert substances or what? These are all chemicals. So doctor says that I don't know, because you have complained for headache, I have given for headache. Fever, I have given for fever. Now what they do inside and all, I don't know. You ask any good doctor, means those who are really understand. Like other day, one in the WhatsApp, one doctor is saying that in the first phase and second phase, the lot of doctors have died in India because of the COVID. They say the doctors, when they were at the time, whatever medicine was available, they have taken. Suppose there are 5 types of medicine or 20 types of medicine throughout the world that was being practiced for this thing. So they have taken all the medicines, and this was not proved. These medicines which are told for the COVID, it has never been proved for such a long time. It take 20, 30, 40 years actually to prove a medicine that whether really this medicine is working or not. But it was unproved. And because of their life and all, he's a doctor, and if he has got contacted this COVID, so they have taken all the medicines. This is the doctors have died because of overeating of medicines actually. The one doctor is telling that the doctors have died because of overeating of medicines. Because the virus has got no medicines actually. You cannot kill virus. In the layman terms, it was told that virus is just like air. Now, how can you kill air? So bacteria and all this, there are medicines like penicillin is there, so it can kill bacteria. But what about virus? So so likewise, we complicate our this thing, and all. It's very nice that each and every sentence I could find that we are the culprit for our present state of affairs if I'm not happy and peaceful or quieten the mind or something and all this. Whatever state, whatever mental or physical state at this. So thank you. I've taken time now. I must stop.
Yeah, thank you, Captain. That was very informative. And it's really strange, how again and again we come to this thing that we have to go towards simplicity, right? Like we have to find a way back to being simple, and how we, and it's so evident that how much we are complicating things, how, we are getting refined or sophisticated. We seem to be moving away and away from, say, health, or like you were sharing, how it's getting tougher. I don't exactly remember, but I'm attending a conference of Dr. Basu these days on the chakras. And in that, he had said that, as the consciousness grows, your focus on time reduces. You know how time seems to be so important to a, common person. And everything that you share, Captain, is because somehow I want to do things faster, right? Like I have a headache, and if I rest, and if I press certain pressure points and all, is there a question? I'm sorry, which paragraph was this? I missed the context. Yes, we basically read something from the sunlit path, and it was so it's from the mother, and this is what we basically read. It was about that mother is saying that how we are not taught anything, like how we assume things that okay, this is the right way, even sleeping, eating. So Captain, what was the heading in sunlit path for this? You're on mute, Captain. You're on mute.
Captain, we can't hear you. You unmute the button.
Yeah. It is page number 5, and the heading is the art of living. And usually we are taught very few things. It starts with this chapter. Page number 5 of Sunlit Path.
Okay.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just saying that all the things, Captain, that you were saying, if I, think about it, it's because I want to do things faster, right? Like even while eating, usually some of us are doing, this or that, or reading a book, or, listening to something, or watching TV, or telling kid a story if he's eating with you. It's just to complete more things, right? That because it feels that the time is less and there are so many more things, but the harm that this is doing, like, all the 4 things, even in the eating thing that you have mentioned, need time, right? Like if you wait till you are hungry, it needs time that, okay, when you will be hungry, then you will have to eat. Otherwise, a lot of us just follow, clocks these days, right? Okay, this is the lunch time, this is the dinner time, irrespective, and everything. So It's just that how no it's strange, right? That no matter how much we are advancing, there seems to be less and less time, right? Like with everything that we see in a regular lifestyle, with yeah, so it's just something that one must uh you know reflect on for themselves in their own lives. Yeah, anybody, any comments? Jyotsna ji, yeah.
I just wanted to make a couple of points related to what Captain told us. One is that viruses do exist. They are not just air. They are definite organisms which exist, which have a life and which affect the body. There are medications for viruses which are called antivirals, like you have acyclovir, remdesivir, Zovirax, all of them. They are effective in killing particular strains of viruses. And the third point I wanted to make was doctors died in the first and the second phase, not because they took the wrong or excess medications or all the medications. Basically, the average number of deaths was very high in the first and the second phase because of the nature of the virus. The Delta virus was the second wave was a very virulent virus which was affecting certain coagulation mechanisms and certain parts of the lung, whereas the first type of the COVID 19 which was released was also affecting the lungs, but it was going to the lower zone of the lungs and was just consolidating them into solid. So the person could not breathe and his oxygenation would suddenly drop. The present third wave is the Omicron, which is a a highly infectious, rapidly spreading virus, which in which the morbidity and the mortality is very low. It's a very safe virus with a very low mortality. And so what they are trying to attempt all over the world, especially in larger countries like India, is that they are trying to achieve herd immunity by not isolating, not being strict about the pandemic and the epidemic, to be able to achieve more and more people to get Omicron so that they develop a certain degree of antibodies to fight further mutations of other viruses coming up. So we have to understand that each strain which comes is different in nature and character. Delta was the worst, and it is still coexistent in India along with the Omicron. That is why when a COVID-19 report appears, it doesn't tell you whether it is just COVID-19 or whether it is Omicron, but it definitely tells you that it is non-Delta or if it is Delta. Because if it is Delta, we are on very high alert medically. So in the first phase, doctors were totally unaware of what was the nature of the virus and what it did, except for being aware of certain vital points like, the virus was killed with soap, and it was simple soap solutions could kill it, bleach could kill it. You know, each phase was a learning process for us. And in the same way, like there were certain deaths when people took anti-malarials for the first COVID-19 virus. But then anti-malarials are contraindicated in certain heart conditions, in certain lung conditions, which youngsters and many elderly doctors were unaware of that they had. They didn't know they had a coexistent heart ailment and they took it. And that is the reason for the mortality, not for taking all 5 drugs or all 20 drugs. No, that was not the reason. Then came about the diagnosis of through D-dimer. Then we came about, now I think we'll be able to get to virus levels. So it is a process of discovery for us. It is literally a Pandora's box opening. And by the time we would have mastery on the virus, we'll know everything about it. It would have probably died a natural death. But it's not that we haven't progressed from the first phase to the third. We have come a long way. And that's why, because the virus is helpless, now it has become tame. It is much tamer. So I do not think that we should say that we did not come a long way or we did not progress. We have come a very long way, and the mortality in medical staff and whether it was nursing or paramedics or doctors was mainly because the exposure was more and it was more uncontrolled. The dedication was far higher in the medical community than it was in the civilian community, where we heard of millions of stories where even the kith and kin did not go to see the dead body and did not go for cremation or even touch anything. It was that much. So there's a definite progress which we must not refute. I wanted to make that point because it's very important in removing that element of fear which the media is creating amongst the people. It's just functioning on fear.
While you were on unmute, would you also like to share anything that you had read for today, or did you get a chance?
Nobody else is ready.
Yeah, I think you go ahead and then we'll move on.
Okay, it was something. It's something interesting and amusing. When one reads ordinary books, just type it, Taru. Yes. When one reads ordinary books, we saw it now. Where did it go? Just write down books in that. Yes. No, it's a question by a sadhak. When one reads ordinary books.
Yeah, found it.
Yeah. One has the impression of entering into the mind of the author. And that is not always pleasant. I have also noticed that when one talks about business or work with an outsider, the conversation can be good and interesting. But as soon as one talks with the same person about his private life, the conversation immediately becomes painful. Yeah. Mother answers, yes, because work, especially if it is technical work, is the expression of the best in the man, while in his private life, he comes down to a lower level with very few exceptions. So many remarkable scholars, writers, artists who produce remarkable things, once they enter their homes, become detestable husbands, unpleasant fathers, intolerable people for those who are around them. And I am speaking of an elite, those who make special studies, discoveries, who run big institutions. Outside, they are uncommon people, men of great abilities. Back home, they become commonplace and often unbearable. They have a nice time. They take rest, relax themselves. And if they begin to amuse themselves, that's the end of it all. I knew people of great intelligence, admirable artists who, as soon as they began to relax, became utterly foolish. They did the most vulgar things, behaved like ill-bred children. They were relaxing. Everything comes from this need of relaxation. And what does that mean for most men? It means always coming down to a lower level. They do not know that for a true relaxation, one must rise 1 degree higher. One must rise above oneself. If one goes down, it adds to one's fatigue and brings a stupefaction. Besides, each time one comes down, one increases the load of the subconscious, this huge subconscious load which one must clean and clean if one wants to mount, and which is like fetters on the feet. But it is difficult to teach that, for one must know it oneself before one can teach it to others. This is never told to children. They are allowed to commit all the stupidities in the world under the pretext that they need relaxation. It is not by sinking below oneself that one removes fatigue. One must climb the ladder, and there one has true rest, because one has the inner peace, the light, the universal energy. And little by little, one puts oneself in touch with the truth, which is the very reason of one's existence. If you contact that definitively, it removes completely all fatigue. I found it beautiful because it is true that we generally slip to a lower level to relax. We do stupid things, idiotic things to chill, whereas we should have been doing exactly the opposite. During studying, when I was reading Madan Sri Aurobindo sometime, I realized that, from doing my routine jobs, coming and painting and going quiet and totally silent was far more relaxing, which is actually a focused work, but which is far more relaxing than, say, doing the jig or dancing. So it comes with a little bit of pressure training, but then it is very, very comforting. And same goes for our sessions also. So I like this paragraph, this question and answer. It's applicable to us.
Yeah, Taru. Yeah, Dr. Basu was also mentioning about this, right?
Why don't you say that? Because I was about to refer to that
No,
only.
actually, my internet went off yesterday when he was mentioning about this. And Dr. Shailendra was also, Professor Shailendra was also asking something, but my internet was not clear. So I just wanted to check with you. He also mentioned something. I could see the slide, but I couldn't understand what he was saying.
No, actually, he says so much, so I don't know whether I'll be able to give justice to it. But basically, he was talking about the higher vital. And of course, the lower vital he had covered before, that how people who are creative they cannot do it unless they have that, connection, and that higher vital is pretty active. But with the problem with the higher vital is that, it cannot be tamed, kind as in, in creation, you will be like so creative, not creation, sorry, like when you're doing something, you will be so creative. And he even said that it is impossible for somebody to be a genius or leave a mark on the world unless you have a strong higher vital. But he said the repercussion is that if it's not cleaned, if it's not connected to the higher consciousness, then those same people do a lot of mistakes and lot of, violent crimes, or, certain things like that, because it has to be purified. It has to be purified because otherwise it's just so much energy. What do you do with it? So of course he said it very more, kind of much more nicely. I don't know how to rephrase it, but that was the main thing, that, like it's always you're like, the center from where you're operating, right? Like, because they just become crazy with that creativity and everything. And what amazed me today is that, Josna ji, you see how connected this is with what Captain had shared, right? That how we are not taught anything, and how it's like that even this thing, like, he talked about sleeping and eating. This is about relaxation. That maybe we should one day do a session just on this, mother on relaxation, mother on sleep, mother on eating. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. And yes, Aditi, did you have any comment on what Jyotsna ji had also shared? Like anything you want to talk
No,
about?
just now, Jyotsna ji was mentioning it applies for, attending the sessions also. It happened just now because, the whole day I was busy doing something after having the class workshop of Dr. Basu, and 6:30 I had some other thing. I thought of, whether to go and sit there or in the session. Then no, I should not do that. I will go and sit. After coming back, I will do rest of the things I was thinking. So it needs just that push. If we train our minds, train our body, definitely we'll be able to achieve much more, than what we think of ourselves. That's what I wanted to convey.
I just had a conversation with my daughter and I told her I'm going into study circle. She said, Mom, chill, don't do any of this for a week. You're so tired. And I said, this is my relaxation. This is my
Beautiful. Yes.
relaxation. Because it silences your mind so much. Though you are actually using this head, but you're not really using the head as much as the heart. So for me, like these sessions when Taru comes on and we talk and we interact is relaxation.
Definitely. Yeah.
So mother
Beautiful.
says it is relaxation.
True. Yeah. Beautiful.
I have a question, like I'll open it for reflection, that, how it is said that our relaxation is always, almost always stepping down. Like, we step down for relaxation. And these days, a lot of people are hooked on to Netflix and different things, right? Like they come back from office and they just, have something, and then they just sit with their the whole day they are on their laptops. And then they come back and again on the laptop, they are watching Netflix. And it's just, how as soon as one serial ends, they have that play next, right? Like, so that you don't even have a chance to kind of say no. And obviously, the last part is always very addictive. So you want to press the play next. Let me see for 2 minutes what is happening, and it's becoming very widespread. This thing about just zooming out. Like, how is this happening? As in, how? Why do I feel? Why? And it's not very relaxing also because it's very tiring, right? Like it's very exhausting. So how did it come into being? Like for Captain, when he was talking about eating, right? It was more of a time thing, right? That at least that made sense to me, that because we are always short on time, or we think we are. Yes, Jyotsna ji.
Basically, it's because of accessibility.
Okay.
Things have become so accessible to us so easily. You, not your, you can go back to your childhood, or say, I go back to my childhood, which was 63 years ago. And if I can remember at the age of 4, 5, 6, what was my relaxation? Go outside, play in the mud, make castles in the sand, sit on a tree, look at the birds singing, and that continued till I was 15. Other than reading books and being outdoors, I did nothing else. And now a child is barely 7 or 5, and we give him an iPad. He asks for our phone. We give him the phone so that we can do what we want to do, and we give him a phone to sit and watch that. What is that? The comic things, the children's things. But what are you doing? You are nurturing an addict. My daughter, while bringing her up, she used to fight with me to be given like what the other children were those gaming and those video games and those things. And I said, your mama doesn't have money for them. I only have money for books. And I set up a library for her, a painting zone for her and stuff like that. And now she values it because she's more in touch with books rather than, it's because of the access. And we parents, we give that access to them. And then we feel that if we don't give that access, we are curtailing our children from what all the other children have. And whereas when adults are concerned, they just don't want to connect on a human basis because they feel that human to human interaction is exhaustive. Emotions are exhaustive. Nowadays, we are closing up. We are putting lids on ourselves, and you notice anybody. Nobody wants to have a heart-to-heart talk with you and tell you anything. What do they want to do? Chal, let's watch a movie together. Or, let's watch what is going on here. Or let's watch this Netflix serial together. You sit in your house and watch, I watch from here. But what are we doing? We are playing with the vital. But
Josna ji, sorry to interrupt. I have a question here. My sister always, me and my sister, she also lives in Bangalore. Every day we call, we'll talk for 10-15 minutes, something or the other, family matters or this, that. But nowadays she started saying, I think we all have become very egoistic. That is why we are not sharing anything. I told her it is not so. It is not because of ego. As you said, we are very closed. We don't know what to talk. What is the ego doing here? I don't know whether she is right or I am wrong, but I just wanted to, ask you, because every day she will tell me, Sharda, see, nowadays we don't have anything to talk. Maybe we have become very egoistic. See, we live together.
You don't want to connect beyond the point. You look at it. Do you want to bear everything of yourself? No. People think it's exhaustive.
Yeah.
It drains you. So we are causing the disconnect, and the further generation, we are giving them aids to get more disconnected. Actually, if you force your child to go out and play and collect 10 different kinds of leaves and describe them, or shapes of 10 different trunks of the trees, they'll start observing. But we don't do that because we don't have the patience to walk them through the woods. We don't have the patience to go leaf picking with them. So if we the fault does lie with us too. Or if I say I was 30 years younger and my spouse came home and said, "Khana jaldi lagao," he ate food and put on Netflix and watched for 3 hours and went to sleep because he wants to disconnect. He doesn't want to talk with you and exhaust himself. because their conclusion is that emotive language is exhausting. That is the norm now. That is the new norm, which we have to sort of thwart. We have to teach them that it's not there.
Beautiful point. I will tell my sister. Because every day this will become one, point for us. What happened? What happened? Why are we like this? Sorry.
I think, Sardaji, on your point, I feel that, lot of times we engage in just, things that don't need to be discussed, right?
Yeah.
Especially with relatives, it's more very customary. So if you reach to a point where you know that the things that you want to discuss, nobody wants to hear them, so silence seems better. So I think it also sometimes reflects a growth in one's consciousness that I don't want to talk the mundane and I cannot talk what I would like to talk with you. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, just talking generally. So I think silence is so much better than saying that, she did this, I did this, I ate this, we made this, kind of things that actually you don't feel any interest in talking. So even when people change, lot
Yes.
of times the
Yes.
silence comes that nothing to talk about, and that's good, I feel, right? Like
Sometimes it is good, but sometimes it is very pressurizing, It's okay, see, if you keep on seeing your phone, keep on seeing your iPad, looking for YouTube, and how long you can sit. You also need to talk. Doesn't need to be a gossip, but general sharing. I cooked this. Why don't you try? I bought this. This is good. It's very useful. Some simple talks. That has become very, not much nowadays.
yeah. And this laptop thing that we were discussing, the Netflix, like we call it relaxation, but I think it's mostly just mind numbing, right? Like Jyotsna ji also said that it's just that I don't have to think, I don't have to feel, although you are thinking, you are feeling, even like the lives that we are living have, certain aspects of stress. So at least when I'm back, I don't want to think about those, I don't think or question that why is there stress in my life. But I live the whole day, and then evening I come and I have 2 hours of total blanking out, next episode to next episode. And that makes me feel that, yes, there was entertainment. Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I think that's all I would want to say on this. Anybody, please, anything on this or anything? Yes, please.
Yeah, so what you were saying earlier, Taru, was that so when we go into the silence, right? And so one of the the question would be over here, like I was watching this particular talk again, and how we have also stopped listening, right? So is that something that I feel more comfortable listening to someone, because and I find that I connect more on that level. So is listening something that would be also one of the steps that, if you don't have to go into the silence, but you listen and you give your your that yeah, probably that time, if you could. So is that something that
Yeah, I would say that if you can listen, that's great, right? Like listening is beautiful, right? You learn so much and everything. Lot of times I'm sharing that at times the quality of the content is so redundant and so lifeless that one feels like, like running away, that, I cannot hear this again, and maybe I'm coming from a point of, again, egoism or arrogance, I don't know. But there are certain conversations that I would like to have, but I just can't have because I don't want to go there again and again. And I think the thing is, lot of times I feel that in the name of kind of company or just respect, one even, has this thing about encouraging somebody to say things that they would rather not say.
Not
Like,
say.
as in have their guilt or victim consciousness, and again they go on and on. So I think it's very important after a while, because a little bit we all can listen, right? That okay, one needs to get over stuff. But
Hmm.
after a while, they also need to be told that the more you sit on it, the more it will increase. And yet it's very hard, right? It's very hard when
Right.
just trying to do that. But just yeah, anybody.
No, I hear you, and this is what I think we've, over a period of some time been reflecting on that too. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, anyone else has got anything to share with us today? Aishwarya, Sandeep ji, Jasmine, Sada ji, did you get anything? Okay.
I'm just listening to it today. I got late again. I was so excited about this session. I mixed up the timing again.
Yeah, that's okay. So I had two things, but one of them is really big. I had actually just finished and I shared this book last time also. It's really beautiful. If you haven't read it, you have to read it. Tales of Prison Life. I mean, you have to read it. It's just, I wish it would have not ended for me, but sadly it has. So one is, and I think all of us must have already almost read it. Like, the Uttar Para speech, Alokda has also given a lot of talks, some talks on it. So that was very beautiful. That was one thing, but I thought if there's less time, there was something on ego. I just pulled up something on ego, very simple thing that uh, we can just go through together. Are you able to see my screen on ego?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's just small things, very small and yet very reflective. So the ego thinks of what it wants and has not. This is a constant preoccupation. The soul is aware of what it is given and lives in endless gratitude. I think we have read this before. It seems familiar. And it's such a small thing, right? Like, as in we, like Sardaji, you were just asking, is it ego? It's like such a clear kind of a, I don't know, way to judge, right? Like if I'm doing something with gratitude, I think even with the conversations, the same thing is happening, right? If not talking, I'm at peace. If there is like just already I'm enough, why would I want to kind of, say more or, kind of indulge in that? Not saying it's a bad thing, but it just keeps on thinking what it is not, and that is a constant preoccupation. And the soul is always in endless gratitude. Even this word together, it sounds so beautiful, right? Endless gratitude, if it can be. I'll keep going down for a little bit. In case any comments, kindly just unmute and share. Thank you. So, abolition of the ego. One exists only by the divine and for the divine. So just constantly remembering that. All bitterness in life always comes from the ego refusing to abdicate. All that happens is to teach us one and the same lesson. Unless we get rid of our ego, there is no peace, either for oneself or for others. And without ego, life becomes such a wonderful marvel. And see, this one was very visual and we can contemplate the divine smile when we have conquered our ego. Like we can move away from, oh, what is this doing, happening, and why is this happening to me? And Shiro Aurobindo talks about, the divine comedy aspect also quite a bit. So this was beautiful. One or two more maybe we can go through. Without the play of ego, there would be no conflicts. And if they were not in the vital a tendency to drama, there would be no dramatic happenings in life. Jyotsna ji, anything you want to share on this? You like this one, I think.
Life is all about drama only. Literally, if without there was no play of ego, there will be nothing dramatic in our lives. We just need a small thing and it's dramatized to the heights.
Even this one was very nice. Divine Mother, my giant enemy ego, even to say that is pretty good, is sitting directly in my path and will not let me pass. In what manner should I fight him? So Mother says, ignore him and go through. You know, when I read this, I was reminded of an example. You know, I'd heard that, say, there's a river, right? And it's flowing, and there's a huge kind of, say, a very big cliff on its way. You know, it would not say that, oh, I'm a river and I'm very mighty and I will just go through the cliff. I will, it's like it has no issues, it has no agenda. It will say, all I need to do is move ahead. And for that, if I have to go over it, I'll do it. If I have to go under it, I'll do it. If I have to go around it, I'll do it. But for us, lot of times we keep getting stuck, right? That I am so and so. How can I allow this to happen? Or I must understand it. So the point there was that there are so many things that we just have to move beyond. Like everything, if I stand and say, which is, a bit conflicting to a egoistic or a intellectual mind, I would want to say, right? That I must understand, I must understand. Some things are just left like that. So, keep moving on. Because a lot of times things become a burden on us, even on this path, that I must do this, I must do this, and they take away a lightness. There's more, but I think should we end today? When Jyotsna ji, you had been traveling, you must be quite
Yeah, it's okay. I'm there with you.
yeah.
If you've got more stuff, welcome.
There was more here only. Sandeep ji, did you have anything? I don't know. You usually share some whenever you have come. I don't know if you can talk today. Yeah, so this is the last one on this page, and I think quite important. To get over our ego is not an easy task. Even after overcoming it in the material consciousness, we meet it once more magnified in the spiritual. And it's like, even like, in the Buddhist text, how they say that even after life, right? Like how it again, the ego never leaves, right? So if there's something we can do right now, yeah. So the next thing was the Uttar Para speech, but I think that's too big to, I think, start now. In
Post
case
it
you
on the group, the Uttar Para speech.
yeah, I'll also write about this book, like just recommend, and I'll post it. I think it would be a delight to, maybe it will have to be a PDF because it's a big one. Yeah, I think I'll do that then.
And Taru, could you just share those today's readings, especially the one Badalji and then Jyotsna ji, and just now which you
Yeah,
read
I'll
on
do
the.
that.
If you could
Yeah.
just type the few words, and I'll also read through it on the incarnate word. Yeah.
Okay, and then you will have to post some reflections post that. Can I
Yeah.
request
Okay.
about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll do
perfect.
that. Yeah.
So
So it's very. So when especially you've brought this up on the ego today, I read this. I mean, there was news rather article. So how a bridge is going to be, sort of destroyed rather, broken down, because Mr. Jeff Bezos' yacht, which is almost about $350 million, has to pass through that the I mean, rather that particular place in Netherlands to land into the sea. And so it was a very interesting, so like it really sort of brought, this little, there was obviously anger because it has created quite a stir in Netherlands by itself. That we also allow, how do you, we are also part of this collective that allows something like that, because it is also destroying a bit of, the nature and how we, so there is a part of, it plays as the ego, and then we are there, there is also a number of people. So this was a very interesting article, I mean news rather, that this morning sort of just popped up on and I was saying, wow, I mean, how do you then, what is this in the context of, if I had to take a passage from some of the last reading that you did, how do you I mean, sometimes you try to understand what it brings to on the surface. So yeah, it was a very, because this morning was like, oh, for his yacht, you sort of, it's so amusing, and yet, it is also shocking that, that's, yeah, that is something.
Yeah, and I think we can choose that, I would rather
Yeah.
take it as amusing, or I can, and yeah, because and this is the world we live in, this
Live in, yeah.
like it seems like something from a movie, right? Like something would happen because it doesn't seem it's possible, and yet it is. So yeah, interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I wasn't aware. Yeah. So I think we'll end it here. And for next, yes, Joseph.
Bring to your notice, Captain, in Sunlit Path, mother writes about how to sleep, how to go to sleep, and how we should train ourselves to sleep. It is very interesting, and we should read it next time. It's there in Sunlit Path.
Yeah, that is what I was about to say, that let's all get one or two things like this, so that would, that tells us from her how to, kind of go about these simple
She has
activities.
written it, Captain. The
Yeah,
detail
yeah,
of how to fall asleep in the vastness and the expanse of the universe. It's there. Sleep, how to sleep and dreams or something. That topic is like that. My book is very old. My book is 35 years old. I think my pages don't match to the recent book. Anyway, I'm ancient.
Yeah, I don't know whether you're ancient or you just like to show off that my book is 34 years.
No, it's brown, and when you say the pages and I look, I can't find nothing.
Yeah. What are you laughing? Okay, I think so. We'll call it. Yeah, a day. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great weekend. Bye. Yes, Jasmine, I'll share it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.